It's time for another episode of I Am Northwest Arkansas, the podcast covering the intersection of business, culture, entrepreneurship, and life in general here in the Ozarks. Whether you are considering a move to this area or trying to learn more about the place you call home, we've got something special for you. Without further ado, here's our fearless host, Randy Wilburn.
Hey, folks, and welcome to another episode of I Am Northwest Arkansas. I'm your host, Randy Wilburn, and we are still in the midst of this COVID-19 coronavirus pandemic, and we're dealing with it the best way that we know how. If you've been anywhere around and listening to the latest episodes that I have been doing, you will notice that I've been connecting with a lot of local business owners and just individuals here in Northwest Arkansas that have been struggling and or have been dealing with this pandemic the best way that they know how. And today I'm here with Doug Riverman Allen. And Doug is the owner of Jose's Bar and Grill. It is a Northwest Arkansas best of for brunch. And they have been around for some time. If you ride down 412 after you leave 49 and you're headed west going towards Tulsa, you can't miss them. They're on the right-hand side there. And just a really, really great restaurant, a really great story. And in any normal time, I would really come on here just to kind of tell the whole story and the narrative of how Doug got Jose's off the ground and what they've been doing. But he has had to pivot based on everything that's happening right now in our current market and the current conditions that we're in. And I heard his story the other day when it was shared to me by a good friend of mine, a mutual friend of ours, actually, Gary Head from Signature Bank. And I said, man, I really want to get Doug on the podcast. I want to talk about what he's doing and how he is meeting the needs of our local community. So without further ado, Doug Allen, how are you doing today?
Hey, I'm hanging in there. Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
Oh, man, it's my pleasure. Well, why don't you just really quickly give our audience here at I Am Northwest Arkansas just a quick short synopsis of who you are and a little bit about Jose's Bar and Grill.
Sure. Jose's was started in 1980, back in Fayetteville, way back in the day. So I actually started to work for Joe Fennell and Jose's to get myself through school, which I did. Graduated with a degree in social work. Use it every day, believe it or not.
Absolutely.
But anyway, put myself through school through Jose's and, eventually started a Jose's up in Springdale, moved to Tawny Town. And, I've been an owner of Jose's for about 18 years now. So, yeah, that's kind of the story about how I got it going.
Wow. So it would be safe to say that things were kind of humming along until just a couple of months ago, and things have changed drastically for you.
Yeah, 3 or 4 weeks ago, I was gearing up for the start of our busy season, patio, music, margaritas, chips and salsa, gearing up, trying to hire staff and wondering where I was going to get staff. And, 3 weeks ago, our whole world just turned upside down. It was, it was a shocker.
Yeah. So what would you say? I mean, I think you told me at the height of, you were almost about 30 employees, and you've actually had to decrease that number as have a lot of local businesses or businesses around the country, period. I mean, you're not immune to that, but you have almost had to drop your staff down to how many?
Yeah, I had to drop down. I think we dropped down to about 5 to 6 people suddenly. As we're sitting there trying to figure out, what to do and all that. We've since started adding people, and I can't wait to tell you the story on that. So we're able to rehire some people back, which puts a smile on my face because we got some people that, a lot of these people, they don't live paycheck to paycheck. They live day to day. These are tipped employees that are, that were having a tough time. If I can hire some people back and get some money in their pockets, help them pay some bills. And hey, that's a win. That's a win.
Absolutely. So tell me a little bit about, Jose's has been traditionally Mexican food. Is that correct?
That is, we call it Ozark Mex.
Okay.
It's kind of our own mix. We're famous for fajitas and our salsa and our margaritas, and I'm not from the Mexican country, but we know how to make some Mexican food, so that's
Right.
the reason why we call it Ozark Mex.
Right.
So yeah, we've been doing it a while. We got our own twist to it. We do burgers and steaks, and I've got the barbecue grill going right now for some pork butts, and we do some wings and stuff like that. So it's we're kind of all over the place with it, but our base is Mexican food. Sure.
Okay. Do you do a queso dip?
Yeah, we do some white cheese dips, our traditional yellow cheese dip. Some meaty quesos. We fry our own chips. Yeah, we do it up right.
Okay. Well, that's awesome. So my understanding is that recently, based on everything that is happening, in addition to food, that you have extended or expanded your offerings. And I'd love for you to just kind of tell us or tell our audience how this came about.
Glad to. It was, I think back on it, the days are starting to run, together. Yeah. But, it's 3 weeks ago, Asa Hutchinson, he came up on the news, our governor, and he said, hey, we got to start this social distancing. And then all of a sudden you couldn't come into a restaurant anymore. And, I was watching his news conference, and he said, hey, we want restaurants, if you want to, you can sell groceries out of your restaurant.
Yeah.
And I kind of hesitated. I was looking at the TV, and I said, what? I can't survive doing this. I said a few choice words, and, I think I even threw something at the TV, and I said, this is going to be devastating to not only myself, but the rest of my friends in the industry.
Yeah.
So, my daughter was down, and I went to bed. I'd made a few phone calls, talked to some people, some employees, and I actually woke up. I didn't sleep very good, to be honest with you. I was worried. Woke up in the middle of the night and don't know what time it was, but I thought, groceries. I can do this.
Mm-hmm.
There's some hard to find stuff out there. Ground beef, toilet paper, latex gloves, even beans, rice, bacon, chicken. I was like, my vendors have this, and they have a lot of it.
Yeah.
And grocery stores can't get it. I can get it. And then I can provide it to the customer with a safe transaction. We can do a contactless transaction, pull up, give me your order, I fill it, no need to touch any receipts, or, we can keep our distance, and we can make this happen, and it can supplement, our revenue, as well as, providing a need for the community.
Yeah.
Basically that's how it got started. So I called my vendors, I said, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to wrap my arms around this, and we're going to figure this out, because, I've had to fight all my life for everything. So, and I'm not going down easy on this one.
Right.
So we got to figure it out. So my vendors got with me, and they said, yeah, we've got, 20 pallets of this, 10 pallets of that. We can provide you with product. I found sanitizer. I found, numerous different things that we could sell. And, and the community really wrapped their arms around. There's like, thank you. I don't want to go to the store right now. I'm afraid.
Mm-hmm.
Can you fill my car up? Can you do this? Thank you. And just the outpouring of people, it was unbelievable. So we kind of found a niche. We had to adapt, and it's helped us survive. So, that's kind of it in a nutshell. So we became Jose's Grocery Express, while doing, takeout food and all our other stuff.
Right.
And,
right.
We're 3 weeks into it now, and I hate to say this, it's still not normal, but we kind of know what we're doing now, and it's starting to, we're coming to work, and we're kind of getting a groove, and we're kind of figuring this out.
Yeah.
And if I wouldn't have, woke up in the middle of the night and said, hey man, we can do groceries, I don't think I'd be here open today, providing jobs, busy enough now that I'm rehiring back people.
Yeah. So, and I think that's important. I was just looking at, you have over 10,000 people on your Facebook page, which is really impressive in and of itself. And certainly with that type of following, it should be easy for any business to be able to at least drum up some support and awareness. And I was looking on your site, and you have like a list of all the stuff that's available. You're selling like ATAC cleaner / sanitizer concentrate by the gallon. I mean, you've got a little bit of everything. I mean, you've got the things that I would expect that Jose's would have, but then you also have other things. And I'm looking at this list and I'm like, man, I actually may need to come out here and pick up a few things. Because
I just got 2 cases of toilet paper.
It's like, I mean, look, it's the little things, right? And right, we laugh about it, but man, I want to applaud you, because that is as we talked about this last night, that's the indomitable spirit, of the American business, where we can kind of pivot when life hands us lemons and come up with something else that will work. And I'm excited, because if nothing else, if this does nothing else for you, and I really want other businesses to hear this buys you time.
Exactly. It's still it's a Band-Aid on an open wound, but it's buying us time. What it gives people? It gives people hope.
Yeah.
Right? It gives my employees hope. It gives me hope. It gives my mind off, that dadgum virus.
Yeah.
I was telling you the other day, when I first talked to you about a guy who messaged me, he says, "Oh my gosh, Doug, I drove by Jose's, early one morning and your truck wasn't there, and my heart sunk."
Oh man.
He goes, "And then I came back through and your truck was there. And it gave me a sense of hope and normalcy that I need. Jose's has been around for a long time." He goes, "It's the little things like that gives me hope. I saw your truck there. You're still doing it. You're still trying."
Yeah.
And that just, it hit me right in the feels.
Well, yeah. And I think you bring up a really good point, because you never know who's looking. And that's huge. And so there's always going to be somebody, and it might be a smaller business or somebody that maybe doesn't have the same following that you have. Then they see, man, if Jose gives up, meaning the company, then man, what hope is there for me? And I, even as a small business owner myself, I am infused with ideas and hope, just based on what you're doing and how you have found a way to kind of stem the tide, if you will. And so I think it's exciting. Now, I guess my next question would be, have you had a chance to look into some of the programs out there that are potentially available to you? Do you think you'll be able to take advantage of some of them? What will that mean for you?
I do. I've looked into the PPP, the Payroll Protection Plan, and then,
EIDL and all those.
Yeah. I've looked at all those and I've studied those, and I've come up with a plan for that. And of course, Signature Bank has been extremely helpful and get me information, get me resources to talk to get this plan underway.
Yeah.
So, it's still going to be tough. It's going to take some time to get that funding. It looks like they're backlogged in paperwork and whatever else, but it's definitely going to be, a shot in the arm that, not only myself, but other people in the industry are going to need. I'm from Eureka Springs, man. All those hotels, restaurants over there, those guys are hurting. My heart goes out to them, and, they're able to apply for some of this relief and loans, and hopefully they'll get to reopen.
Yeah. No, I think that's really important. And, Eureka Springs in and of itself is a special destination that a lot of people go to. And obviously it's a destination that won't be utilized as much right now, just because of the state and environment that we're in. So yeah, you need to get as much cash flow as you can to be able to bridge the gap between where you were and where you are currently. So,
right.
So I think that's really important. So what else has this taught you, in the last couple of weeks? Because really, I think every small business owner has been in a baptism by fire in the last month, at least, in terms of just how most people's businesses has been turned upside down. I think I had mentioned on a podcast recently that, I had about I had quite a bit of work to do, and I travel when I'm not doing this podcast. I travel and I do some leadership training, and there is no travel. There's no training for me. I can't go anywhere, and so I've had to totally pivot and change how I do things. So where you're selling groceries, I'm now doing online trainings when that used to be face to face. So what else have you decided to do, or what are you thinking about doing that has been much different than the way that your original business was set up?
Yeah, the takeout business, we had to really, pivot and figure that out really quick.
Yeah.
It seems easy. It's not. Just like you think the grocery business is easy, kudos to Walmart and Harps and all those guys. It's still just not easy,
Yeah.
So we've had to rethink about our systems. We had to streamline our menu. We had to figure out what the customer wanted,
Right.
how they wanted it delivered,
Yeah.
what was safe to them. So, we put together family packages of meals. We've had to get different to-go containers. We've had to retrain staff systems in different places in order to get things out in a timely manner, and all those little quirks you don't think about, they all pop up and you go, oh my gosh, I've got one line with a rollover, and the rollover is not active right now, or both lines are busy. How do we combat that?
Yeah.
How do we get food out in the kitchen quicker? How much staff do we need? What's the volume going to be? So after a week, you start to look at some of your history and your numbers, and you go, okay, well, I need to add a person here. I need to move this person over here. This person needs to take the call. This person needs to put the order in. This person needs to run the food out to the car. So there's all
Right.
kinds of systems, that you have to really, I guess you call it deflecting and countering.
Yeah.
And that's what we did. We deflected, we countered, we deflected, we countered. But it was a new way of doing business. I mean, it's still Jose's food,
Right.
but having, get into the customer has just been a total different, mindset. So,
Yeah.
one thing I learned about this whole business, and maybe this is since day one, since I've owned Jose's, is it's not an easy business anyway.
Right. Right.
You have to be a fighter in this business. Okay. If you're
Yeah.
not going to be a fighter, you're in the wrong business. Okay.
Yeah.
'Cause it's tough. The margins are thin. Competition can be fierce. I do have a degree in social work and I use it every day.
Right.
Employees and you got issues to deal with besides just making tacos. I used to tell people making tacos and margaritas are easy, right? People are hard. It's not
People are hard.
It's not just customers, it's employees and but we love them like, our employees are a family.
Yeah.
There's some people that stuck by me, the last 3 weeks, and they were there for me.
Yeah.
And I'm there for them.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know what I mean? And those people, we're gonna take care of, and I'm not gonna forget that. And we've had a lot of customers reach out too, Randy. So tons of customers that love Jose's, have been coming here for years. I can't even tell you the amount of people that have called me, messaged me, sent me gift cards, money, whatever they could to help Jose's, and that really is a great feeling.
That is awesome. And again, that's kind of, I've seen that spirit. I know last week we had the whole NWA Gives program, and there were opportunities for people to buy different gift cards. And I've just been telling people over and over again, buy gift cards, buy gift cards, buy gift cards. Maybe you can't use them now, but you can use them later. And if anything, every little bit helps. And some companies got $5,000 to $10,000 worth of gift card orders. And that money can go a long way. I'd be curious to know for the employees that you have yet to be able to bring back, are you just kind of keeping in touch with them or checking in with them from time to time to see how they're doing, or what are you doing as far as that's concerned?
I'm definitely checking in with them. I just brought a new employee back today.
Nice.
She was having a hard time and was starting to run out of money and food. And I brought her back today and said, "Hey, man, I got food, and I can employ you as well. So
right,
let's make it happen." Yeah, we keep in touch with our people and make sure that they're okay.
Yeah, because again, when you hear all the stories out there, and of course the media is going to say one thing, but when you just hear the stories in general about with the loss of it, with the amount of unemployment that we're going to experience, that yes, some jobs may never come back and all of that, but I think some of that is also incumbent upon the organization or a company to try to fight that as much as possible, and where and when possible to create opportunities to bring people back on. And it might mean thinner margins. It might mean as an owner, you take a little less off the top, but it also provides an opportunity for you to be there and grow. Because the one thing that I do think is going to happen, and you can correct me if you think I'm wrong, is that when we get out of this, when we get on the other side of this issue, that people are still going to go out to eat. They might do it a little differently. We might be different about how we connect and exchange social touching and all that, but people are still going to need to eat. People are still going to want tacos, and they're still going to want margaritas. And,
Right.
And so I think that, those that can fight the good fight right now, when we do get out of this, I think we'll be rewarded by being able to have some staying power through this pandemic.
I agree. We don't know what's going to happen a month, 2, 3 months from now. If I'm a betting man, I'm willing to bet that they're not just going to say, "Hey, just go back to your restaurant, fill it up, and everything's just going to be hunky dory." And
Right.
It's probably going to take some time. It's going to take some distancing. I think we're in for the long haul on the way we're doing business now.
Right.
So, we really got to be creative and think. And, kind of be ready for the worst. I just don't think there's going to be a miraculous vaccine come out in the next month or two and everybody's just going to be fine. We hope that, but let's be realistic. We're probably going to be doing this way of business for a while, and we're just going to have to be creative.
Yeah. And who knows? I mean, you might be able to ultimately spin off Jose's Market, and that becomes kind of a unique piece of the tapestry of the business environment here in Northwest Arkansas.
Yeah.
So,
it could be. We've a couple new ideas, that I'm able to do that I wasn't able to do before. Is we're doing growlers of Jose's beer to go.
Yeah, I was just about to ask you about that, because they are allowing alcohol to go now. Are you able to do margaritas to go, or?
We're not. We can't do any type of spirit, but we can do beer.
Okay.
But Jose's is famous for our margaritas, so we're coming up with a jug of margarita mix. I'm just waiting for some labels to come in for that.
Nice.
And with the recipe on it, so we'll put the recipe on the jug with the Jose's famous margarita mix. Then you can just add your tequila, your orange liqueur, a little bit of lime juice, shake, and
you're good to go.
You got margaritas at home. So, that's another way we're deflecting and countering that. So, getting beer to go, margarita mix to go. If y'all want to call the ABC and kind of, nudge them a little bit.
Exactly.
To go.
Yeah.
It'd probably be a minor miracle, but boy, if we had Jose margaritas to go, that'd be a whole different.
Just with like a special container that doesn't open until you physically get to your driveway.
Right.
When it gets there. So,
Exactly.
But
if you can resist those margaritas until you get home, you can
absolutely
have one, right? So,
man, I love that. Well, wow, man, I really, this is great. I think, again, this actually, I knew I wanted to do this interview because it actually is inspiring me, and I hope it would inspire some other folks. But before we sign off, I'd love for you just to kind of share an encouraging word for some of your local business compatriots that are going through just like you are, and may have thrown their shoe at the TV like you did, and may have said, "What am I going to do next?" Now that you are at this point where you are, and you're going to fight through this, what advice do you have for some other local NWA businesses?
Don't give up. That's the best advice I can get. Okay.
Yeah.
Your first reaction, your emotional reaction is to just throw your hands in the air and give up.
Yeah.
So, restaurant owners have thick skin. Don't give up. Figure out how to adapt and survive. Use your resources, use your people that and figure out how you can make it. That's the best advice I can give. And nobody knows how much you care until you tell them.
Right.
You tell your people you care. You tell your community you care, and it'll come back tenfold.
Yeah, I love that. That is almost, we feel like, we're not in a war, but, I think back to Winston Churchill back in 1940s where he said, never surrender, never give up. And we're at that place. We're not dealing with a war, but we are in survival mode. So, we've got to do what we need to do to make things happen. So,
Exactly. Yep.
Yeah. So I love that. Well, that's perfect. Thank you so much for taking the time. If people want to connect with you online, they can go to your website is
Yeah.
oleforjoses.com, right?
Yeah. www.oleforjoses.com.
Okay. All
You
right.
can click on that. It's got an updated menu on it. You can get a little history about Jose's, and if you flip a message through that website, you can get directly to me. If you got any questions, if there's any other restaurant owners, business owners out there that want to holler at me and say, "Hey, man, I just need to sound off," or I've got some question, how'd you do this or that? I don't have all the answers, but I know
Right.
what's worked up to this point.
Yeah.
It could change tomorrow. I consider the virus a piece of glitter.
Yeah.
All it takes is one piece of glitter, to get on you, and then everything changes again.
Exactly.
But for right now, we deflect, we counter, and we fight.
Yeah. So, well, man, from pork butts to sanitizer, I think Doug you have kind of figured it out for right now. And what's the best number people want to call in and either order food, or if they want to order anything from the store side of things?
Sure, that's 479-750-9055. And right now we're open we're open on Mondays for groceries, but it's really Tuesday through Sunday for takeout.
Takeout. Okay.
And then,
great.
the groceries we do from about 11 a.m. to 4 p.m. during the day. Our normal hours are 11 a.m. to 8 p.m. for takeout.
Okay. All right. And I noticed that the pork butts that we were talking about earlier, you're doing those, you're selling those, and then you're taking some of the proceeds or all the proceeds to benefit families in need of food, which I think is great. So
yes.
Will you continue to do things like that moving forward?
Absolutely. We'll periodically continue to do that. Today's pork butts, we're going to help feed some needy families that are having a hard time because they lost their job. They've got a bunch of kids they need to feed people. So, we want to do that, and we're able to do that, with help from our vendors getting us the product. It's easy for me to get that smoker going and help some people out. We send out a message on Facebook, say, hey, if you need some help, you message me, no questions asked. We'll
exactly.
help you out. It's the right thing to do. We've got food. Nobody should go hungry.
No, absolutely. Especially not here in Northwest Arkansas. So, exactly. I mean, with all the farms and everything that we have here. So that's great. I'm curious, are you guys on Instagram?
We have a Instagram account, but we're mainly a Facebook
group.
business.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I'll make sure that we share out all your information for Facebook, and I'll put all of your contact information in our show notes so everybody has it and they know how to connect with you and the rest of your team and how we can support you and what you're doing. And certainly if people need sanitizer or bleach or anything along those lines that you just can't find at a regular store, you need to really check out what Doug's doing here at Jose's Bar and Grill and groceries. So you need to check that out. So
kind of weird to hear.
Yeah, it is. It's all good though. We'll get through this. So, but man, thank you so much for taking time to be on the podcast today. And we're going to put this out as a video and a podcast just to kind of share it with the widest audience possible. We want to encourage people that are checking this out. If you do happen to go into Jose's and, get on the line and bring your car around to pick up whatever you need to pick up, let them know that you heard about it first here on the podcast, and give Doug a fist bump and tell him how much you appreciate what he's doing. So,
give me an Ole for Jose's.
Yeah,
right?
Exactly. Yeah. So that's it. Well, thank you so much, man. I really appreciate you and all that you're doing. And we are going to connect in the real very soon once this whole thing is over. So I'm going to have to get up there and get some margaritas, and we'll talk about this and how we've come through it. So I appreciate everything. Thank you so much.
Thanks.
Doug.
Yeah. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. Well, there you have it, folks. Another episode of I Am Northwest Arkansas. So great to just hear that inspiring story for Doug. I don't know if that didn't get you excited or inspired about what can be, I don't know what will. And so I really want to encourage you, especially if you're a small business owner here in Northwest Arkansas, to just keep fighting the good fight and hear and listen to inspirational stories of hope like Doug's and what he's doing at Jose's Bar and Grill. It is possible. We can get through this. I know some people are going to, lose their pound of flesh through this process. But listen, what I was always brought up with this understanding of whatever doesn't kill you only makes you stronger. So I really want to encourage you to remember that, and remember what you heard here today with Jose's Bar and Grill and with Doug Allen and what these guys are doing here, because there is hope and there are possibilities. So that's all that I have for you now. Please check us out at IamNorthwestArkansas.com. You can follow us on Instagram or Twitter, and certainly on Facebook. We'd love for you to join our Facebook page, I Am Northwest Arkansas, and there's all kinds of links to that information on our website, and you can also join our email list there to find out all the latest and greatest things happening. In addition, we have a COVID-19 resources page with all kinds of good information for everybody. This is not just for business owners. This is for everybody that's part of our community here in Northwest Arkansas. If you need anything health related or anything like that, there are all kinds of lists and links updated daily, including Governor Asa Hutchinson's press conference every day at 1:30. So you can just check that out at IamNorthwestArkansas.com. I'm your host, Randy Wilburn. I really appreciate you guys. Yes, we are in different times. Yes, we are going to get through this. So continue to do what you do on a regular basis, and know that there are people out there that care and want to help you and want to help all of us get through this in one piece. That's all I have for now. I will see you guys next week. Bye for now.
We hope you enjoyed this episode of I Am Northwest Arkansas. Check us out each and every week, available anywhere that great podcasts can be found. For show notes or more information on becoming a guest, visit IamNorthwestArkansas.com. We'll see you next week on I Am Northwest Arkansas.